Hello everyone, this is Freak here with my laptop buying guide. In this video I'm going to be outlining some basic tips and guidelines to follow when buying a laptop, whether it's ports or screen size or general design. I'm just going to give you some tips to follow when you're buying a laptop. So my first tip is figure out what you'll be doing on your new laptop. Are you going to be making videos, word processing, listening to music or watching movies, emailing, or web browsing, or any combination of those things? Well, I've put together a little chart here to help you categorize your usage. As far as everyday tasks go, that's pretty much just emailing or web browsing or some simple just word processing, like writing up papers for school or typing like a novel or something like that. General media consumption is just watching movies or looking at your pictures or maybe watching some TV shows online or streaming some online video or movie stuff like that. Light photo and video editing, just touching up some photos, maybe adding some fancy filters on Instagram or something like that. As well as video editing, like putting together a home movie or uploading a quick video to YouTube, as well as casual gaming like Angry Birds or a simple round of solitaire or something like that. But more advanced tasks are definitely some stuff like heavy video editing or heavy photo editing, music production, any type of music production where you're going to be producing large amounts of sound and be looking for advanced track things, stuff like that. In serious gaming where you're going to want really good frame rates, and obviously you're going to want like the most RAM and processor speed. That's definitely more advanced tasks. But most people are going to be classified into the everyday tasks category, unless you're doing serious gaming or are doing creative stuff for like your job or are producing music. Most people are just going to need an everyday laptop, and therefore won't have to spend as much money. So let's go now into the amount of RAM that you're going to need and the type of processor and processor speed that you're going to need to look for your relative tasks that you're going to be doing on your laptop. My second tip is look for the type of processor, the processor speed, and the RAM. Usually you'll find a little sticker at the bottom corner of the laptop, either the left or right on the palm rest, that tells you what kind of processor it is. Here we have an Intel Core i3. And types of processors are either AMD or Intel. The Intel Core i series is what I would recommend sticking with. Don't go for a Pentium or Celeron, as they're just too painfully slow to get any serious work done. And the AMD A series is AMD's kind of flagship line. So either one of those will suit everyday needs, and the Core i3 and Core i5 are kind of main average configurations, and just kind of the average processors for your everyday needs, whereas the AMD A series are going to be for everyday needs as well, whereas the Intel Core i7 is going to suit higher end gaming as well as the more advanced tasks that I mentioned earlier. As far as the processor speed, what you really need, obviously higher is better, but in some cases it really relies on how the laptop performs in everyday usage, and that usually depends on whether it's a hard drive or an SSD. An SSD stands for solid state drive. HDD stands for hard drive disk. What a hard drive is it is a spinning disk where it reads and writes the data to, but an SSD is more like a flat chip, and unlike a hard drive, it has no moving parts, and therefore gives you a lot faster boot up times and app launch times, and just opening files, reading, writing files, stuff like that, copying, pasting. All that is going to be a lot faster on an SSD, although the amount of storage is lower. If you have the money to pay for a higher end one, or are okay with using external storage, or just don't have that big of a library to store, they really can be worth the money because they're a lot faster. So in that case, even if you have a laptop with a slow gigahertz speed, if you have an SSD in there, it really is going to improve performance a lot. So you can't always base your judgment on the speed of the processor. So next up, we're going to talk about RAM. So here you can see my laptop has 4 gigabytes of RAM, and you can see it's running an Intel Core i3 3rd gen CPU, which you can tell by the little number there, and it's running at 1.8 gigahertz, so that's a processor speed. But RAM stands for Random Access Memory, and it basically is what the computer can remember. It's how much the computer knows, how much the computer basically is remembering at one time. So if you want to, make a movie and you're using, say a video file that's larger than 3 gigabytes, that's what the computer remembers. But if your computer only has 2 gigabytes of RAM and you're trying to do a 3 gigabyte video, it's not going to work. So you want around 4 gigabytes for the average user, although heavy gamers and high-end video editors and music production, is going to require a lot more RAM, such as 8 gigabytes or even 16 gigabytes. Some laptops even have 64 gigabytes of RAM, which is absolutely insane. But for the everyday person, 4 gigabytes of RAM is going to get by perfectly. In most laptops, you can upgrade the RAM, so even if you have 2 gigabytes when you buy it, you can always buy more RAM for pretty cheap, and then you can end up just having, a laptop with 4 gigabytes of RAM if you upgrade it. Most of the time, you just want to make sure you get 4 gigabytes of RAM from the starting point, but upgrading is an option if you do decide that you need more after you buy. My third tip is decide what screen size you want. Laptops come in a huge variety of screen sizes, from a puny 7 inches to a super large 17 inches. So basically, the screen size comes down to what you want to do with it. So laptop screen size is measured diagonally, as you can see here. I have an 11.6-inch laptop, and I will be upgrading it later on. I will be buying a 13.3-inch laptop because I use my laptop mainly at home. But I actually found myself finding that the 11.6-inch screen size isn't that bad if you want to use it at home. But I would definitely recommend getting something bigger, as you can see on this chart, if you are using it mainly at home. So on this chart, we can see 10.1 inches or smaller is extremely portable. It's actually more of a netbook size. It was really very uncommon nowadays, unless you're buying your laptop like used on eBay or Craigslist or something. Then you're not gonna really find something that's 10.1 inches nowadays, especially with Windows 8, since it doesn't even support those smaller screen resolutions. This is a super high-res one, which they really weren't, because netbooks were very low quality and very slow. I would not recommend buying a used one. Especially if you're buying any laptop, I wouldn't really recommend buying used unless it's a really expensive one. So definitely a netbook is not a good idea. But 11.6 inches, however, is a very portable size, and it's good for use anywhere in the home. I have an 11.6 inch laptop now, and it's actually very nice to use around the house because I can do anything like in my bed or in a chair, on the couch, in a beanbag chair, just anywhere I can use it. And then I can take it around anywhere whenever I need to get work done on the go. Now, 13.3 inches is pretty portable. You can still bring it around pretty easily in a bag, and it's great for home, or good for home, more of, because you can still, have that good screen size and carry it around when you need to. 15.6 inches is not good for portability. It's very hard to carry these things around all day. You still can if you absolutely have to, but it's really not recommended. But it is great for home because you have that big, vibrant screen. 17 inches is not at all portable unless you want to break your back and have a horrible back problem. But it is excellent for home because you have that huge screen size and you can really, really enjoy that huge screen for watching movies or playing games or doing anything. Really enjoying it and your content, just being submerged in your content on that screen. And as far as usage goes, I would say, unless you're going to be doing a lot of gaming, or a lot of video editing, or a lot of photo editing, those are the main things that you're going to be doing. In that case, I would say get the largest screen size possible, 17 inches. But anyone else, I would just say base your laptop screen size on how much portability you need. My fourth tip is find the keyboard and trackpad that suits you. These are the main things that you're going to be using to interact with your computer, unless of course it has a touchscreen, which I do highly recommend. But mainly you're going to be using your keyboard and trackpad, so make sure that you really like the look of it. And of course the feel of it. Does the trackpad support multitasking gestures? How big is it? Do you feel comfortable using it? Some people may like a trackpad while others might not. Does it support clicking? Does it have 2 click buttons? Does it support the scrolling with 2 fingers? As you can see here, this is a trackpad that does. That is all stuff that you want to think about. You want to be able to type on it and really feel comfortable with doing it. So I would say definitely use the laptop if possible before you buy. You don't want to buy something and then receive it in the mail and be like, oh wait, I don't like this keyboard, and you really don't want to have to return it and then start over again. Once you find a laptop that you want, you really don't want to start the whole thing over again. So really, I recommend, even if you're not going to buy it from the place that you try it out, just go into your local Best Buy. Most Best Buys have just a huge range of PCs or Macs to choose from. You can go in and use the keyboard and trackpad and see if you like it, and most likely buy it there because Best Buy has price matching. So even if there's a good website online, if it's a legitimate website like Newegg.com for say, or if it's being sold by Amazon directly, they do have a price match and you can get the laptop there. So really, you want to make sure that you like the keyboard and trackpad, and you don't want to just buy it without using it. So definitely be sure to use it, even if you don't buy it from the store. And a touchscreen is highly recommended if you are buying a PC laptop. Just about everything you buy nowadays is going to have Windows 8 on it. I would not recommend buying a Windows 7 laptop because you're going to have outdated technology. Even though it has Windows 7 on it, I would say you need to learn to get used to Windows 8 because it is what's going to be on just about everything. And it actually isn't that bad with the Windows 8.1 update. And if you have a touchscreen, I would say touchscreens are just a very, very important thing. I'm not going to get into hybrids and tablets because I wouldn't really consider those laptops, even though you can get those. Hybrids and tablets are just a totally different category. That's a different buying guide. If you want to, you can obviously consider those. They turn into tablets and laptops, and some really aren't full laptops. But I'm just going to focus on laptops now. Laptops with touchscreens, which is what I have. I have to say, it completely transformed my laptop experience. I upgraded my old PC to Windows 8, and it really wasn't a bad. It was a really, it wasn't that bad of an experience, but it was really, now that I'm using the touchscreen on my laptop, I really have found it to be very helpful. And even if I don't use the Metro interface, which I actually don't use it very much, I like using it on the desktop. I just dragging my finger to use my window, move my window around, resize my window, close a window, respond to a pop-up message, or just scroll through a web page or whatever I'm reading. It really is a nice way to interact with your computer, so it's highly recommended with any PC that you buy. Obviously, Macs don't have them; they don't need them because their operating system isn't optimized for touch, and that's a totally different argument. But Macs don't need them, but definitely PCs. If you're buying a PC, definitely do not hesitate to buy a touchscreen. It will totally reimagine your PC experience. My fifth tip is look at the ports. You're the one that will be using the laptop based on the various ports that you'll be needing. So you want to make sure that you get the ones that you need. Most laptops have USB 3.0, which allows you to connect phones and tablets and charge them and sync them, as well as add external storage devices or accessories like game controllers or mice. Ethernet is a little bit of an older technology, but a lot of people still do need it. It is a wired internet connection, so you have to look a little bit more carefully to be sure that a laptop has it, because they are a little bit harder to find nowadays, especially on thinner ultrabook-like laptops or MacBook Air, stuff like that. But they are still available, so you have to just know what to look for. An SD card slot is very helpful for transferring pictures from an external camera. If you want to transfer pictures from a digital camera, it's great to be able to have an SD card slot, so be sure to look for that. Might be a little harder on smaller laptops, but you should be able to find one. If not, they do sell USB to SD card adapters if you absolutely can't find them. A CD-DVD drive is something that a lot of people still do need, even though it's a little bit more of an outdated technology. Be sure to look for that if you will be needing one. If not, you can always buy an external one, because a lot of thinner, lighter laptops don't have those nowadays. And VGA and HDMI are sort of an older and newer technology. VGA is older, HDMI is newer. It allows you to connect to external displays and televisions. And be sure to look for others. Be sure the laptop that has everything that you'll be needing to connect your laptop to, or plug your laptop into, or anything that you may want to plug into your laptop. Since it is your laptop, you want to make sure that everything is there that you'll be needing, because only you know exactly what ports you need, and therefore you're going to want to make sure that you get the right ones. My sixth tip is decide which OS you want to use. Yes, it's inevitable. You have to decide whether you're going to be using a high-end Apple laptop or the more common Windows laptop, which is known as a PC. So here we go. I put together a little chart saying the benefits of each. Macs usually give you a high-quality build, as well as excellent customer support and high customer satisfaction rate. People are very satisfied with their Macs. They're very reliable, but they also are very expensive. Now, PCs are a lot more budget-friendly, and they give you a much larger variety of options than Macs do, because they make them just about for everyone in any color, any size, just about anything you can get the exact laptop that you want. And they also have a wide range of cool features such as touchscreens, laptops that flip into tablets, and just do wild sorts of things with touchscreens. And they also even have some with motion controllers built in. They're coming out now where you can put your hand above the motion controller and control your laptop with that motion controller. So generally PCs have a lot more cool features like that. Macs are usually more kind of just stick to the technology that is safest, and don't like rush out and do the newest thing first. And then once they realize that the technology is being accepted, usually then they kind of put it in. So they definitely Macs are definitely great. If you are on a budget, it's definitely best to get a PC. But if you do have the money, Macs are definitely an excellent consideration, especially since a lot of people think the OS is easier to use and a lot cleaner and more refined looking than Windows is. In my opinion, I think they're both great operating system. I enjoy using Windows, especially with a touchscreen. And from what I've used with Mac OS 10, I've decided that I'm probably going to switch within the next few months. I'm going to get myself a MacBook Air, but that's all a matter of personal preference because I have a lot of Apple stuff and just work better. There's another thing to determine too. If you have a lot of iOS devices, then most likely you probably are already considering a Mac, but they do work a lot better with iOS devices than a PC does. But still, that's just a matter of personal preference. If you really do like a PC, PCs work fine with iTunes and stuff because you can still do that. So it really comes down to personal preference whether you like Windows or Mac OS 10 if you have the budget to even consider Mac. But obviously, PCs are the main option if you're in a lower budget. Of course, there are Chromebooks and laptops running Linux. I would stay away from Chromebooks because they really can't do as much as a PC can for around the same price. You can get a good PC for $250. It can do way more than a web-based Chromebook can because a Chromebook can hardly do anything offline. And Linux laptops are great too. Those are just a little harder to find. You have to do some nosing around the internet to find those, but they are available, and they're mainly geared toward developers and things like that. My seventh and final tip is choose a laptop that you like. Overall, it comes down to what you like using. It doesn't matter if you have an iPhone and iPad and therefore are think you should get a Mac because it works better. It doesn't matter if you like a PC and if you like the look of a PC or you like using Windows, then go ahead and get a PC. Almost all devices work in sync with each other, and though some may work better, like an iPhone or iPad may work better with a Mac, or an Android phone may work better with a PC, it doesn't matter because almost all of them still work in sync together. So yes, some may have certain advantages, like it may be easier to use an iPad or iPhone with a PC, but it doesn't matter because if you like a PC, it still works, and it still is able to do that. And you shouldn't buy it based just on what you can do with your other devices with it. You should buy it based on what you're going to be doing because you're the one that's going to be doing it, and you should be the one to enjoy it as well because you're the one that's going to be using it on a day-to-day basis. And just buy what you like and not based on what you think you should buy based on the other devices that you have or your fanboyism or whatever, like thinking that if you are a true Apple fanboy, you have to get a Mac, or if you're a true Microsoft fanboy, you have to get a PC. Just don't base it on that. Just base it on what you really want to use. Think about what you really want to use. That's what it all comes down to, and that's the way to truly buy a laptop. That's the best advice that I can really give. So that's it for this video, guys. If you do need help deciding between a few specific laptop models, I'd be happy to give you guys a personalized recommendation on what laptop I think is best for you. Just be sure to include your needs, what you're planning on doing with the laptop, and how much portability you need, and I'll be sure to just give you a personalized recommendation. Also, be sure to subscribe and like this video. It really helps my channel a lot, and your support is greatly appreciated. And also, I do a lot of other tech videos like this if you're interested. So check out my channel for that. And until then, happy laptop shopping. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful.